So welcome back, guys. This is going to be lesson 4. In the last lesson, we kind of went over standard tuning, how to do that, and where we started building one chord, the G chord. So in this lesson, I'm just going to kind of emphasize that, and we're going to actually learn the C chord, and I'm going to give you guys some practical ways to practice the G and C chord, okay? So again, just going back to the last video, you learned the G chord, which is your going up the fretboard. You have your pinky on the high E string on the 3rd fret. We're staying all on the 3rd fret for these. Your ring finger on the B string, 3rd fret, and your middle finger on the low E string, muting the A string. Remember, muting the A string, okay? And that is a G chord, okay? And I talked about how when I first started, I had to just get a notebook paper and just write where my fingers were going to go. And you're just going to have to really go through and put your fingers where they need to be. You may even have to take this hand and physically put your fingers where they need to be just to train your fingers. And then all I want you to do is once you get it, you got to press down on those strings, okay? And I want you to go through just with your thumb. So you got G, then I'm muting that one. So E string, mute. See how clear that is? I have no buzz. That's where you have to get to. So, but when you first start, it's going to sound like this. Hear all that buzz? If you will press down a little bit harder, you'll get that clear sound, okay? Sweet. So that's the G chord. So to get a C chord, again, these two fingers on the high E and the B are going to stay there, okay? They're going to stay there. You're going to take your middle finger that was once on the E string, and you're just going to move that down to the A string. Okay? Now, here's the thing about this chord. You know how on the G chord you were muting the A string? Now you're going to use this finger to mute the E string. So your bass note of this chord starts on the A string. And just to back up on the music theory that I taught you guys, if you think about it, we're making a C chord, right? So here's the A string, A, B flat, B, no half step between B and C. So the 3rd fret A string is a C. Okay, so that's your bass note. So that's a C chord, okay? So you're going to have to go through the same process with this chord as you did the G chord. And the way I'm muting that first string, you don't really have to hit it very hard, okay? You just have to get your like when I do it, my fingernail kind of touches that first string, and that's all you need, okay? Again, guys, do not get intimidated by this. This is going to take a little bit of time, but if you can learn these basic chords, I'm telling you, if you will work hard, even when it hurts, even when you don't think you can do it, you can do this. So, again, G chord, these two, and your middle finger. Really, all we're working is these 3 fingers right now, okay? And these 2 fingers are staying in the same place at all times. So, all you're really doing right now for these lessons is moving your middle finger from E string to A string. So, going to the C, okay? Now, the way that you can practice this, first step, just to kind of build your calluses up, just put these two strings, or these two fingers, on the 3rd fret where you know they are standard, gonna stay, and just work through the chord note by note. So you got E muted, open, open. See, I had a little bit of buzz on my B string, so I'm gonna go back to that. If I hear that buzz, I'm gonna go back to that until I work that buzz out, okay? And it's gonna take you guys a little bit of time, but before you move on to C, you wanna have all these strings with no buzz, okay? Then once you get that, move to C. Do the same thing. Muted. See how that's muted? C. And just keep on strumming it. And whenever if you hear a buzz, go through each note until you find that buzz. And press a little harder. Okay? So once you kind of get familiar and your fingers start hurting a little bit, you have to train your fingers to go to this. See, I've been doing this for a little while, so I can just grab a G chord. I can just grab a C chord, okay? But it's not gonna come that easy, okay? So one thing I did when I started learning is I would just set my guitar in my room, and every time I walked by my guitar, I would pick it up, work through the whole chord until I didn't have any buzzing, work through all of C until I didn't have no buzzing, and whenever you sit down to practice, but what I was saying is, every time I'd walk by, I would do that. Work all the way through G, work all the way through C. Once I got it with no buzzing, I would put my guitar down and go do whatever I was doing. If I walked by it again, pick it up, do the same thing. And what that's doing is that's just helping your fingers get to where it can just go to a G chord and it's training your fingers to know how hard to press down on the strings consistently, okay? So, but in your normal practice time, that's besides your practice time, that's just whenever you walk by your guitar. In your normal practice time, when you practice these chords, just play a G chord, okay? Play a C chord. Lift your fingers off the fretboard. Go back to it. Fingers off the fretboard. Go back to it. And what that's doing is that's training your fingers to go to where they need to be. Your fingers will get to the point where they just go where they need to be, but it's going to take some time. So the first exercise where you're just working through each note, that's training your fingers on how hard to press the strings, which is good for your calluses. This next exercise that I'm telling you to do, that's going to help your fingers learn the fretboard and learn where to go. Now, again, it's not going to be that easy at first. You're going to have to be looking down. You're going to have to count your frets. 1, 2, 3. Okay, my pinky goes here. My ring finger goes here. My middle finger goes here. Now strum. Oh, there's some buzz. I got to get that buzz out. It's going to be a process, but just buy into the process, guys. I promise it'll be worth it. So, G, no buzz. Your fingers are learning how to hold those notes down. C. Take your hands off. Go back to it. G. C. And do this. I want you guys to really do this until you're not having to pay as much attention. Like when I want you to get to the point where instead of having to stop, make your fingers go somewhere, go through a couple times and try to get the buzz out. I want you to get to a point where you can kind of fumble through and just put your fingers on it, okay? And work on that, okay? And there's some videos on YouTube on how to practice these things. They might tell you to hold your chords a little bit differently, but really just guys, work on these simple chords that I'm showing you right now with just moving your middle finger. I really want to work on your hands, getting to know the fretboard, building those calluses up, okay? So, this is how we're going to play G and C right now. A couple practical ways to practice: leave your guitar out. Every time you walk by your guitar, pick it up, play a G chord, go all the way through until there's no buzz, then play a C chord until there's no buzz. Even if you do it one time, you pick your guitar up, you play a G chord, no buzz, play C chord, no buzz. Keep doing that over and over and over and over, and you're training your brain and your fingers on how hard to press this. And it's also going to build your fingers up, okay? Another practical way how to practice is play a G chord, strum through with your thumb, C chord, take your hands off the fretboard, and then do it again. And do this for a little while, guys. That's really going to, again, teach your hands where to go on the fretboard. Okay? So that is a G chord, which is all on the 3rd fret, pinky, high E, ring finger, B, middle finger, low E. Okay? And then for a C, all you're doing is moving your finger down to the A string, muting the 1st string, and playing a C chord. Congratulations, you are now learning how to play actual chords on the guitar. You're on your way to being able to play your first song. This is not going to be easy at first, but if you will work hard and you will continue to practice, you will see a huge difference in how you play these chords.